So today's video is going to be a tutorial. I don't think I've done a tutorial with you guys in a hot minute. So I've been doing this look a lot. It's something that I think pretty much anybody could do. It's super easy. It's a lot of just laying down shadow and smudging it out. I did this look on myself in a recent video, and it was the one where I was talking about my favorite brands, and then I talked about a lot of my favorite products, and I ended up using the MAC Coaster Riche Eye Kohl to kind of create this entire look. Obviously, you don't need this exact pencil to create a look similar to this. You can use any eyeliner in the world, any color, any brand, but I just love this one, so it definitely gets a lot of love in this video. Sometimes I do my makeup for YouTube, and I feel the need to wash my face and take this makeup off before I go out in public. Not that I'm going out in public right now, but I wouldn't do that in this case. I think this is still really wearable and pretty for real life. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms. Come hang out with me on Patreon. There's lots of links down below to everything I use in this video. It's pretty much all affiliate links, I believe. Obviously, you do not have to use them, but if you do, it supports me and my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Other than that, this is a chit chat get ready style video, so that means I will have a naked face in 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys, so far all I have is brows, primer, and my skin prep is done. For your primer today, I would say use whatever you have. I always use concealer because it just works for me. I don't have oily eyelids, so I don't think I need anything by way of an actual priming agent on the lid, but do what you gotta do. And I lightly set my eye with my Hourglass powder, but don't do too much if you do that kind of a step, because we're working with a eyeliner pretty heavily all over the lid, and if you put too much powder on, it's gonna cause this to skip. It's gonna be difficult to blend, so dust lightly, don't go too hardcore with it. But the star of the show today is gonna be the Coaster Riche eye pencil from MAC. We're gonna freshly sharpen this bad boy right up, and then we're going to kind of rub it on the back of our hand. The goal is to get it nice and warm and emollient. I will tell you, you also want to have a brush very nearby and prepared to smudge this out. This is a MAC 2 something. I use these brushes all the time in my makeup, and I will link it down below if you are interested. So the first thing that we want to do is look down into a mirror. This is my mirror right here. It's dirty, don't judge me. And we're just going to pull our eye taut a little bit, especially if you have hooded eyes and it's hard to see. This is hard for me to do on camera, and it's hard to see the full dimension, but you just want to start creating a wing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be sharp. We just want to create a wing, and you want to bring it in about 1/3 of the way. Once you have that on, see, it's not perfect at all. It's just an idea of a wing more than anything. Once you have it on, you want to take your brush and start smudging this out. It's going to expand, so that's why we didn't take it all the way into the inner corner of our eye, so we can keep the wing shape. But as you start to stretch this and blend this, the wing will automatically kind of start to sharpen up, as you can tell. Particularly with this kind of brush, it's just manipulating that product in this general area. Next, taking any neutral palette or shadows that you prefer. I'm going to be using the Makeup Geek ones. I'm going to mix a couple of colors together. I will put everything that I used in the order that I use it down below. And next we're going to move on to something that resembles a brush like this. You can still do this with a pencil brush. What you really are just looking for is something small that's easy to control. This is a Sigma E21, and we're just going to take some dark brown shadows, load up our brush, tap off the excess, and then we're going to come in here and start smudging this out. You're just kind of tracing along the shadow you already put down. So after that, you're going to take a clean brush. Any brush will do as long as it's smaller. And you just want to kind of run it along the edge of what you just did. Hang out here for a minute. It's okay if it gets messy, we will clean this up. Next, you want to take a darker shadow. It needs to be considerably darker than the color you've already used. I'm going to use Nars Coconut Grove because it's one of my favorites. It's broken, I know, I just haven't picked up a new one, don't judge me. And then all we want to do is focus this on the outer corner of the eye going towards the lash line. Once you get that on, you're gonna blend together again. I'm gonna clean up my shape using a makeup wipe. All I do is kind of wrap it around my finger and just go up like so. Normally I do that with a bit of eye cream, but because I want that shape to be just so, this gives me a little bit more control. So we have the wing started, as you can tell. This is where you can build it and get it to whatever height, if you will, that you prefer. So I'm just going to bring it up a little more like that. And once again, we're going to blend out the edge. Now I'm taking this Sigma E47 brush. Really what I'm looking for in this brush is something that is going to fit right here along my orbital bone. Any brush that you have that will give you some detail work will be totally fine. I'm going to mix a couple of lighter browns than what I was already working with, and I'm just going to really kind of like carve out that crease. I'm keeping it up and I'm not going quite all the way in. You can kind of start to feather the outer corner up some more if you prefer. And the next thing I'm going to do is take a blending brush and bronzer because it's my preferred like kind of transition creased color. And I'm going to use Hoola bronzer, tap off the excess, and we're going to start blending that out. This is backwards from the way I normally work. Typically, I like to do my transition shades first, but we're doing it backwards now. So at this point, I'm just gonna kind of keep coming back in here and adding and building and blending. Really, that's all you have to do is get your shapes mapped out and then just blend out the shadow. It's super easy. You can deepen this outer corner bit some more, kind of marry these two shapes together, blend out a little more. It's just like, I'm almost over explaining it. It's so simple. Next, I'm going to take a fluffy brush, the fluffiest brush that I've worked with so far, with just a little bit of a lighter, kind of more warm toned transition shade. And I'm just going to run it along the crease just to soften anything. We do want to keep this outer corner harsh, if you will, because that is where we're getting our shape and kind of that depth of color. But here in the crease area, you just want to try to soften it up as much as you can. So what you want to do lastly is you're actually, excuse me, my nose itches. You're actually going to come in here, back up to that lash line, reapply your brown liner as close to that lash line as you can get it. Don't come all the way in here, especially if you have more hooded eyes. We'll draw something there a little bit smaller to kind of ground it. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of a champagne, any kind of like highlighter color you have will work. This is the Charlotte Tilbury, I think it's called, now it's called the Sophia Bella or Bella Sophia palette, but I use this all the time. And we're just going to pop a little bit of that right here. So if you're ever doing an eyeshadow look and you feel like the colors you're working with have gone a little too cool toned or ashy on you and that's not what you're interested in the overall appearance being, take a pale orange shadow. It truly needs to be pale. I mean, I guess you could probably do this with a deep orange or a more vivid one, but the more kind of like a light sort of creamsicle color you can get with a fluffy brush and kind of run it along the look, it'll warm it up just a little bit without kind of taking over. Next, I'm going to pop a little bit of that champagne color I worked with on my brow bone and put it right here in the kind of pretty much immediately in the tear duct and not a whole lot further. So now I'm going to take some gel liner. This is the Inglot number 77 liner, which is a huge favorite of mine right now. I haven't used this in many years and I just completely forgot how incredible it is. And all we're going to do with this is create the thinnest line you can at the base of your lashes. Just really hug on. This is just to create fluidity between the kind of cat eye thing we have going and to hide our false lashes. I'm going to go ahead and tightline using the Urban Decay. This is the 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in Perversion. I get asked all the time about my eyeliner preferences. I guess there's a lot of different eyeliners in this video now that I think about it. I like the Urban Decay ones the most, but I don't know, you guys. Sometimes I worry about giving you product recommendations or advice because I get the impression that some people are really particular about stuff and I'm not. Like if this runs or if it gets in my lower waterline or something like that, like it just doesn't bother me. Same thing with mascara. I get asked all the time about mascara, but my thing is I really only wear mascara when I'm wearing false lashes. I've actually started to wear mascara by itself, like when I'm running around in the day-to-day more recently because my natural lashes have grown so much since I started using Revitalash. But I just use whatever mascara I get sent. And right now that is the Buxom. This is called the Extrovert Black, Extra Black Mascara. I really like this. It works really well. It definitely lengthens and thickens the lashes, but I feel like this type of a formula, it gets so gunky and like thick and you definitely want to scrape off the excess and you kind of got to play with it a minute, but it definitely works. Now, does it last all day? Is it waterproof? Does it flake? Does it smudge? I don't know, because once again, honestly, I put my makeup on and I don't look at it again the rest of the day. Is that weird? Like, I never check my makeup. I see it at the end of the day when I take it off and that's it, but if it doesn't look perfect or gets mussed or fussed, I just couldn't care less. I don't give a shit. For false lashes, I'm using the Eyeliner Luxe Silk Marquee or something like that. So I love these lashes. Can you tell like how pronounced their curvature is? I really need that in a lash because it truly does help open up my eyes a lot. But speaking of lashes, one thing I have been doing lately is using considerably less eyelash glue. Like I used to pile eyelash glue on, let me tell you. And that will definitely make your lashes stay on through like a stiff wind, but the problem was every time I was taking my lashes off at night, it was taking some of my real lashes with it. So I have been using Revitalash, like that lash growing serum, for almost a year now. And I was like, I would go through phases where I'm like, okay, I can see that it's working. And other times I'd be like, it's not doing anything at all. But that was just because I was ripping my friggin' lashes out. And now that I use a whole lot less, like I make sure to touch it with my fingers before I put it on my eye. Now that I'm using so much less, my lashes, my real lashes are growing in like a million times better. Moving on to skin. I'm going to start off by correcting my under eye circles using the Becca. This is called the Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I've used a lot of different kind of under eye correcting sort of products in the past. And this is the only one that I am pretty sure I will absolutely be repurchasing once I complete it because like it totally works, man. It definitely brightens my under eye really effectively. Sometimes when I don't want to do any makeup at all or minimal makeup or just kind of want to like look a little bougie around the house, I'll do the under eye corrector with this Flawless filter from Charlotte Tilbury and some brow gel, and that's all I need. I look refreshed and kind of awake and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm going to very, very lightly set my under eye corrector with some powder. So like here's the powder. I'm gonna put this in the video. I normally edit it out because I want you to see how much I'm trying to get off. Like I'm trying to get as much off as I can while still having a little on there. And I'm just gonna lightly set under my eye because I find that if I don't do this, then the under eye corrector just kind of gets smeared and moves and it doesn't look quite as bright when I make sure that this stays in one place. For foundation, I'm going to do the Dior Air Flash. Spray it on the back of my hand. I love this foundation and I have for many, many years. This was in my haul recently that I talked about. But I've loved this for such a long time because it is pigmented, like it gives coverage, but beautiful coverage that is super, super thin. Like you can't feel it. It makes you look flawless without looking cakey. It's a really good foundation. My color is 3N. 300, 3N. I feel like this foundation would work really well on almost anyone, with the exception of maybe if you had super, super dry skin, but even then, if you like moisturized really well. So all I do is I apply that with a brush, and then I blend it out with a sponge. For contour, I am using the Fenty Matchsticks. I bought these last year and used them all the time last year. And then I kind of wanted to explore other things, and I got really hooked on the Tom Ford Shade Light Illuminate or whatever it's called, but now I'm back to these, and I have the colors Mocha and Amber. I just mix them together on the back of my hand to get the color that I want, and then I apply it with a brush, and then I blend with a sponge. That's basically my complexion routine in a nutshell. Apply with brush, blend with sponge. Next, I'm going to take my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, which is the only concealer I've been using for a super, super long time now. I usually start off with the color Ginger, which is a little closer to my skin tone than Custard. I don't know why everything I say sounds like a question. And then I'm going to blend that out using a MAC 224 brush. Then I take Custard, which is definitely lighter than my skin tone, and that's what I use to like brighten. So to bring the light in as opposed to just concealing. I feel like if you go in with a concealer that's too light to conceal, it doesn't really do anything, because there's a difference between brightening an area and lightening the area. And if you haven't used the right colors underneath your brightening concealers, I feel like all it does is just kind of create more of a gray kind of tone in the areas that you're trying to brighten anyway. Put on like way more concealer than I normally do, but that's all right. It'll be all right. As always, blending after I apply. I'm going to set my under eye area with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. It's the only powder that I have used to do this in, God, 3 years now? That's nuts. Working on the lower lash line, we're going to kind of start similarly to how we did our entire lid. We're going to start off by warming up this eye pencil a little bit on the back of our hand and draw our shape in the outer corner. You only want to come, once again, about 1/3 of the way, and then have your smudgy brush handy, and we're just going to smudge this out. Next, taking a blending brush with whatever browns you prefer, and we're just going to soften this line and blend it together. And what you want to do is blend this line, this dark shadow, in with your under eye area. I like to keep the brush that I use for concealer nearby, just to make sure. You can use it kind of like an eraser to make sure that your shape isn't migrating in a direction or in a shape that isn't curving to the shape of your eye. Good Lord, so well put. This is really going to be your personal preference. Some people don't fool with their lower lash line at all, but it really opens up my eyes and kind of brings some of that visual interest down here. When I look dead on at you, lashes or no, you can't really see my eyelid. You can only see it when I look down. So when I put things in the outer corner and the lower lash line, that's where you get to see the majority of my eye makeup. So that's why I put it there. Alright, next I'm going to spray my face with some Fix Plus. And then quickly before it has time to dry, that's when I apply my Hollywood Flawless filter, because I feel like when I apply a little moisture to the skin, it just kind of makes this blend and melt way easier. While my face is drying, I'm going to mascara my lower lashes using the Clinique Lower Lash Mascara. I love a lower lashy look. If you don't, you can skip this step and skip this product. But if you like that kind of lower lash vibe, then this is a great way to get it. For bronzer, I'm going to mix the Hourglass Luminous Bronze Light with the Becca Capri Coast Bronzer. You obviously do not need both, but I just love mixing Hourglass bronzer with any bronzer that I'm going to use, because it just makes the bronzer, whatever bronzer I choose to use, look more luminous and skin-like. It makes it blend better. It also looks really good by itself, but I just love to mix it. For blush, I'm going to do Charlotte Tilbury Ecstasy Blush. And then I always like to kind of take my blush across my nose, the bridge of my nose like this. Just dust it evenly. I'm not packing it on my forehead and my nose and my chin, but just like light little taps of it, just so all the colors in my skin look a little bit more cohesive. For highlighter, I'm going to use the Hourglass Euphoric Strobe Light. Alright guys, for lips, I'm going to do the Milani True Instant Color Statement Lip Liner in the color number 4 All Natural. For lipstick, again, I'm going to do the Mel Thompson and Christian Audette lipstick in the color Beauty. I wear this every day. I have not worn a different nude lip, I don't think, on a regular basis this much. Maybe ever. It's gorgeous. I think it would flatter almost everyone, but the downside is it's out of stock from what I understand. So I think a close dupe to this would be Blankety by MAC. And maybe Tom Ford All Mine, which is another favorite. But keep your eyes out for when this comes back, because it is so beautiful. I love it. And for gloss, I'm gonna do Buxom Blushing Margarita. This is a new favorite of mine. I found it in my stash the other day, and I've been wearing it a lot since. It's just kind of like the lip gloss version of this lipstick, so I just wear them together a lot now. Alright you guys, this is the finished look. This is a look that I have been doing a lot lately. It's kind of my new go-to. I definitely feel like it brings some interest to the eye without a lot of dark, harsh tones. You guys know I love my smoky eyes. I'm interested in trying this look with different colors. Like, I think it'd be so cool to do this exact same technique with blue, purple, green. Like, maybe I'll throw something out there like that pretty soon. Basically, I just wanted to do my new favorite makeup look for you guys while I get ready to film a favorites video. Really quick, I am actually wearing a robe, if you guys ask. I just got this in the mail day before yesterday. It's from a brand called Kim and Ono. They make these beautiful, like, washable silk gown robes that are just so gorgeous. I want like 100 of them, so I'm just gonna keep my robe on and get dressed for the next video. But anyway, as always, thank you to the patrons. The April content just went live. I did a teal sparkly glittery smoky eye this month. It kind of reminded me of Britney Spears' makeup and the I'm a slave for you video, throwback. And then I also did a video where I talked to you guys about kind of some of the most memorable, both positive and negative experiences I had as a professional makeup artist. That video got me actually a little emotional to film because I haven't got to talk about that part of my life in such a long time, and I look back on it with a lot of like what could have been mixed with like I did that shit, you know what I mean? Like it kind of inspired me and reignited my passion for my career because I've seen myself do so much cool stuff. Like clearly there's way more cool stuff to come. So anyway, I truly hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, as well as information about everything that I used today. And I will catch you in the next one.